Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and to all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Thumbs up for that. Yay! This morning, I took things kind of slow and got out of here at a pretty early time anyway. So I thought I would be like 10 or 11 o'clock by the time I was done the way I was feeling. But no, I got out of here a little after like 9:15 in the morning. So, yay! Went for a long walk. My heel, not good, but not truly terrible. I only had to stop a few times because my heel hurt so much, which is better than limping at like a quarter speed. So, thumbs up for that. It's not getting better in that fashion. Bone spurs don't go away. It's just I'm getting better at ignoring the pain. Yay! Which means I gotta continue hurting myself. Thumbs up for that. And then I stopped off and I bought some food because I sometimes enjoy eating, and that's a good thing. I do have a nom nom issue, and I have to dance around the subject because one video I made where I talked about a nom nom problem I have was the video just got stripped, taken away, because my talking about it, the algorithm took as glorifying. Well, my talking about how horrifying it is that I suffer from this and all the pain I've had, I don't see it as glorifying. But obviously, just even mentioning it is an issue. So I gotta dance around the subject with a nom-nom problem, nom-nom issue, instead of using the actual words. So thumbs up on that. But I was tracing this back. I thought my memory is terrible, and I'm looking back on grief, but it did. I had thought back to after the death of my wife being the first big nom-nom issue thing. But then I started thinking back to pre-2000s, and at least back to 1990. I've been struggling with this for over half my life. And, you know, it's like my doctor says, it's a problem that is intractable. You know, so it's always going to be there, yay. Anyway, though, one of the other things I wanted to talk about was this here. And there's a couple things that's about this. It's difficult to pick up paper sometimes. I'd mentioned before, I have my 4 characters on index cards for 4 Against Darkness. And I'm going to take 2 of these cards, and really it's the graphics, they might as well just put 6 blank white squares, because everything you see there is just flavor graphics. The important part is the number in the room and doors. Absolutely everything else you could take away and it wouldn't make a difference to it. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have a 2-level dungeon that I'm going to take these 4 characters through. That's not 4 characters, that's my writing flavor text on it. Take these 4 characters through these dungeons, and instead of just rolling thoroughly randomly on stuff, I'd mentioned before how I wanted to make kind of a matrix of such. This is for monsters of types. So on the first floor, I would just roll for this for each room. Half of them is none, half of them is something. Same thing for the second floor, except there's 2 vermin, 1 minion for the first floor, 2 minions, 1 vermin for the second. And then after the third visited room, though, on the second floor, it says jump to table XYZ. But XYZ is just first monsters you run across is D6 Ogal. The second monster, D3 Trolls? Must be Trolls. Terrible handwriting. And then the third room, the last one, room number 6, is the boss or weird monster. And then there's traps and various things like that all the way through it, so that I'm not using these straight random generation tables from For Against Darkness, but I'm using the stuff that I made up, those tables from the monsters and such, and other tables that they have in the main books. So, if I can try and remember, I'm going to talk about this one and then try and remember to get back to it. Remember, I had just a moment ago said these might as well be 6 blank square spaces, because that's the only real important part of it. The rest of it is just flavor graphics. And there are some games out there that really do that abstraction completely. There's 2 games that are casual solo that are called from one guy, and they're Harper's Quest 1 and 2. Harper's Quest 1 is so abstract for me, ugh, my heart, just PVC, premature ventricular contraction. It is a little bit too abstract for me. I have difficulty even understanding how you're supposed to do it, and it's largely a one-page thing. Harper's Quest 2 is an actual book, and it goes into better descriptions. It uses complete abstraction. An entire dungeon might just be 1 block, line, 1 block, line, 1 block, line, end room, and then it's just encounter, 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 and it's done. Completely abstracted. That's a little bit too abstract for me, but I can understand if you don't have a lot of time, you know, you're just going boom, 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 you're done. So I can see that, but they use, you would have to go on to the whole flavor stuff, because there's flavor text, you know, the text that's not really important, but it just describes what's in a room so that you get a feel, instead of it just being a blank white box that you walk into sterile and empty. It's, oh, it's a dingy gray kitchen, unused for weeks. There's rotting foods on the countertops. Well, that's nice bit of flavor text there. And then you can look onto these. I mean, these aren't kitchens, but that's an idea. And then you get flavor graphics. So instead of just putting 6 blank white squares, well, there's the dungeon. It's still only just, you know, 1 through 6. They might as well be, but it looks a lot better, doesn't it? Gets your imagination going. But I want to run For Against Darkness, and I've got 2 different ways that I can do this for the channel. One is I just play the game. I've done that quite a bit. But there are people out there that every single day they do a battle report on what they've done the previous day. Now, in this particular case, there are quest-a-day calendars where every day you get a quest that you run your adventurers through, and it's dungeon crawling with monster combat, looting, and treasure and experience gaining. And so it's just every single day, 365 days, there's another quest. But instead of playing it out, the person, in this particular case I'm thinking of, does a daily battle report. Battle reports were apparently incredibly important for like the past 30 years online. People have lived to see battle reports, which is just you write down what your characters did. You went into this room, and in this room was this, this, and this, and there were these monsters, there was this traps, I ran into these things, there was this battle, this happened, and we came out of it with this. And then the next thing after that, so then the next encounter, and then you just give a battle report. So I could play it and show it, or do the battle report. Now, the battle report isn't just a dry recitation while you're staring into a camera. You know, you still would show, like, oh, here and in the second room, and then you, wherever 2 is on this, because it's backwards for me, and then the second room, and then you show that, and then you show what you've got written down for it on the sheet of paper, and it shows the battle endings and all that. So it can be fun. The kind I don't like is when it's actually told like it's an actual story, which is, Crombar stood on the hill looking down into the valley, and below, beneath the gray skies, there was the village of Umberbumber, that sort of thing. And then everything is told as if it's the story. I'd rather hear it on a more impartial third-person type. Yeah, okay, I took the characters down, we went into this room, and then we battled it out. That does it for me. But that's purely a me thing. So I'm hoping to get that done. Yay! That would be cool. Past that, I have not really done much. I mean, today. Well, this morning. I mean, it's only 1:45, so I haven't done a ton today. But I'm hoping to do some things, and that would be good. And hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done, because that would be good too. I have been paying attention to computer games, of course, and I wish-listed some stuff on Steam, which it doesn't matter, but the stuff that I'm wish-listing is, there is a big retro-type boom in video gaming, and not among the big studios. I've given up on them. I'm AA studio and less, all the way down to just a one-person team. I have just lost faith entirely in anything bigger than the indie markets. I don't buy big stuff. Not anymore. Number one, they've priced themselves out of my reach. And number two, they're awful anymore. But I've been downloading a lot of demos, and again, the retro stuff is going on. There are a lot of games out now where you're traveling around on the overland map, like the game Dragon Warrior from the Nintendo Entertainment System from like 1980, whenever that one came out. I can't even remember when those ones came out. It was after the video game crash. I remember that. I was there. Well, I was alive. I wasn't present. But yeah, so there's the 8-bit graphics coming in, and all sorts of grid-based first-person adventures going through dungeons where you turn and sharp the angles like that. They're really coming back for a lot of people, especially. And I'm incoherent. My apologies. There is a market for a lot of people that enjoy that. And I enjoy that, so I am wish listing those things. There are also a couple other demos that have nothing to do with what I just mentioned. One of them, you're actually racing around in a large arena that's a village. And it took me a little while to figure out entirely what was going on, because you couldn't aim. You could aim, but you couldn't fire. And then I figured it out. It is a first-person, big village with buildings, and you can go inside the buildings and jump out. Bullet heaven game. And you can pick up other skills and talents and abilities, and your objective is to survive for 20 minutes in the demo. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. You don't control anything but aiming. And even at that, you just have to get it close, and then it'll do a little bit of aim assist and bring it onto it for you. And then, boom! Experience things fly out of them as they perish, and then you can pick up some upgrades that help you fight better. There are also these... They're like... they're... towers, oh my god, rock, not metal, not wooden, stone. There are these stone type tower things that would be maybe up to here, and they have these orbs on top of them, and if you get close to them, your gun will aim in and fire, and then you can get anything from a smart bomb, which, boom, absolutely every villain on the screen goes up. to just an explosion of these crystals that give you crystals. I don't know what they're used for. So it's kind of cool. Very, very difficult and hard for me to run. It does not run well. I had to bring everything off on the visuals, bring it down to 1366 by 768. And even at that, there will come periods where it just turns into a slideshow, where it's just looking at the ground, and any movement that I make, the next frame is looking up into the sky. And all this time, I'm being smacked and beat on by everything around me. And I was like, okay, let's bring it down just a little. I'm looking at the ground. Those points, there's not much you can do. But still, they got some cool stuff out there. And Grim Dawn, I do enjoy Grim Dawn. Grim Dawn, the action RPG stuff, depending on the game, can run at least semi-okay. Titan Quest, problems, which is weird because it's an older game. It'll just lock up entirely while it's thinking, and then if it's a 10-second wait, it'll just do the next. What it missed, it'll make up by doing the past 10 seconds of stuff in 1 second. So everything will just suddenly go from dead stop to and then stop and go down to normal speed. For whatever reason, Grim Dawn runs better. Doesn't run great, but it runs, and that's a good thing. It is one of my favorite games. And I have been playing Diablo on the PSX, which in this case I'm using emulation because my PlayStation is in the storage unit right now, and it's in a box with other things, and I'd have to really go through a lot of trouble to take that particular thing out. But this does run emulation. It will do a PSX emulation. So I own the things. I'm not like just going off and running and stealing things, but I like to play Diablo on that. I like some of the Diablo lore. I mean, I really like Diablo 1 a lot. I really like Diablo 2. I've played Diablo 3 and I've never played it again after a day's worth. And I have zero interest in Diablo 4 and any of the spin-offs, like, what is it, Diablo Immortal or whatever. Same reason I have no interest in getting any of the further Fallout games by Bethesda or any of the Elder Scrolls games by Bethesda. I have no faith that they're going to be anything but awful. I hated Fallout 4. It just turned it into a generic shooter. Who cares? There's a lot of generic shooters out there. I'll go play one that I actually enjoy. Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, I don't like that one either. It took a majestic and wild fantasy world and casualized it down into just generic fantasy. Back in the time of Morrowind, when they were working out all the lore and doing all this, the stars in the sky are not stars in the sky. They were tears in the holes of oblivion with the light shining through. And the sun is not a star, it is a hole torn there by Magnus. And the two moons, the bodies of dead gods that are decaying in the skies. Now, well, there's the sun, and it's just a star, and there's all the stars in the sky, and they're just stars in the sky. It's just generic fantasy land number 35,672. Plus, I don't like what they did with the whole combat thing. I mean, I've talked about that before, where any lunatic who picks up a sword and waves it around like an idiot, suddenly, whenever that sword brushes up against the bad guys, they take incredible amounts of damage and then they die. Whereas you do that in real life, and while I know it's not real life, it's a game, A lot of people are complaining about the way Bethesda does stuff now in the games. The problem is, design-wise, Todd Howard. Because back in the days of Morrowind, when he was a part of all the teams, they had to fight to keep him out, to keep his fingers out, because he wanted, even back then, you pick up an axe and feel awesome. That's what he wants. You pick up an axe and you're immediately awesome. You can go out and start slaying stuff because you're automatically awesome. And Morrowind is not that. You've got to build yourself up. And I enjoy the build yourself up type stuff, whereas pick up an axe and run at somebody. I like the kind of game where, well, okay, you better make up a new character, because that character, well, their corpse is now rotting in a ditch because they were an idiot and thought that just picking up an axe made them awesome. Design philosophy. And a lot of people who feel like me don't like that. Pick up an axe and feel awesome. But that's why it all happens. When Todd Howard rose up, his pick up an axe and feel awesome design philosophy became Bethesda's design philosophy. Yay. Anyway, though, if you are a Patreon patron, thumbs up and thank you. You are beautiful and awesome. Thank you so very much. Without your help, I would be hurting a lot more than I am. And considering my rent is going up next month, I appreciate your help to no end. Thumbs up and thank you. For everybody that leaves me a comment, you too are beautiful and awesome. I read as many as YouTube shows me. I thumbs up and heart as many as is possible. And I answer as many as my nerve compression will allow me. Just touching there. Oh boy, I can feel it all the way down my arm. Gotta love that. And by love it, I don't mean love it at all. But still, thumbs up and thank you. You like my Patreon. Oh. Being biological is no fun. You, like my Patreon patrons, are beautiful and awesome people. Thumbs up and thank you all so very, very much. I do have a GoFundMe going, if you could check that out down in the links below. I'm trying to save up and get a computer so that this thing will actually play Oblivion really well. But not every game is Oblivion, and not every game will run well. So I'm trying to save up and get something that'll play and record and edit video as well. So if you could give me a hand, that'd be awesome. If you can't, or you don't wish to, then don't worry about it. But if you can, or you will, thumbs up and thank you. Well, son of a gun, I am going to edit, render, upload. Hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done. I got massively time blind. The last time I checked the calendar, it was like Saturday. And now a whole week has gone by. There's only 52 of them in a year. And when they go by like in 10 seconds, yay! Anyway, though, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing. Again, I wish I had words of wisdom, but I have no wisdom. I am not wise. I am merely a bag of flesh and bone.